My biological father, who ignored me all his life, suddenly came back to me when my stepmom left him for another man. I think most of you would have guessed what the story is about from the title itself. But still, here is a little background. Once upon a time, I was a wide-eyed girl with dreams as big as the sky. But suddenly my world changed when my biological mother died of an accident, leaving me behind with my father. But not even a year has passed, and my father remarried when I was only 8, bringing a new woman into our lives. At first, I was hopeful, thinking of the stories where stepmothers were kind and caring. But reality hit me hard. My stepmother never looked at me with warmth, her eyes always cold and calculating. She showered her own children with affection and gifts, while I was left to fend for myself. I became invisible in my own home, my presence merely a nuisance to her. My father, once my hero, seemed blind to her cruelty. He never stood up for me, never questioned her actions. It was as if he had forgotten I existed, lost in his new family's world. I yearned for his attention, his love, but it seemed reserved only for my stepmother and her children. As the time passed, I learned to bury my pain deep within, putting on a facade of strength and indifference. But inside, I was crumbling, longing for the love and acceptance I never received. Each day became a battle, fighting to survive in a home where I was nothing more than an afterthought. I remember one instance vividly, a moment that etched itself into my memory like a scar. It was my 10th birthday, a day I had hoped would bring joy and celebration. But as the clock ticked away, it became clear that my stepmother had other plans. While her own children received new toys and clothes, I was given a perfunctory pat on the back and a dismissive "a happy birthday" before she returned to fussing over her darlings. I watched from the sidelines, the sting of rejection burning in my chest as I realized I was not worthy of her attention, not even on my special day. Another time, when I fell ill with a fever that left me bedridden for days, my stepmother barely spared me a glance. She tended to her children with care, ensuring they had everything they needed, while I lay in bed, forgotten and alone. It was during those long, lonely nights that I wished for nothing more than a comforting touch, a soothing word, anything to ease the pain of my isolation. And then there were the countless family outings and vacations where I was left behind, deemed unworthy of joining their happy escapades. While my father, stepmother, and her children frolicked in the sun, I was left at home, a silent spectator to their joy. Each instant served as a painful reminder of my place in their world, a world where I was merely a shadow, unseen and unheard. And yet, despite the hurt and betrayal, a small glimmer of hope remained, a flicker of resilience that refused to be extinguished. It was my father. But as time passed, I noticed a gradual shift in my father's demeanor, a distance that grew with each passing day. He became immersed in his new family, his attention solely focused on my stepmother and her children. I became an afterthought, a mere inconvenience in his newfound bliss. There were moments when I longed for his guidance, his reassuring presence, but he was always too busy, too preoccupied with his duties as a husband and father to notice my silent pleas for attention. He no longer tucked me into bed at night or asked about my day at school. Instead, he retreated into his own world, leaving me to navigate the complexities of adolescence alone. I remember one evening when I mustered the courage to confront him, to voice the hurt and loneliness that had been festering inside me for so long. But his response was cold and dismissive, his words cutting deeper than any knife. He accused me of being selfish, of not understanding the sacrifices he had made for our family. And so, I retreated into myself, building walls around my heart to shield myself from the pain of his rejection. I learned to rely on myself, to find solace in the quiet corners of my mind where his absence couldn't reach me. But despite the hurt and betrayal, a part of me still yearned for his love, for the father I once knew. And so, I clung to the memories of our happier times, holding on to them like a lifeline in the storm of my fractured family. Amidst the turmoil of my fractured family, there was one beacon of hope that shone brightly in the darkness, my aunt from my mother's side. She stepped into my life like a guardian angel, offering me the love and support I so desperately craved. From the moment she entered our home, she saw through the facade of happiness my stepmother had carefully crafted, recognizing the pain and loneliness hidden beneath my stoic exterior. Unlike my father, she refused to turn a blind eye to my suffering, offering a listening ear and a shoulder to lean on whenever I needed it most. My aunt became my confidant, my rock in a sea of uncertainty. She reminded me that I was worthy of love and affection, that my worth was not defined by the actions of others. Through her unwavering support, she helped me find the strength to stand tall in the face of adversity, to believe in myself when all seemed lost. She and her husband filled the void left by my absent father, becoming the parental figure I so desperately needed. Whether it was helping me with my schoolwork, cheering me on at my basketball games, or simply sharing a quiet moment of companionship, my aunt and uncle were always there, a constant presence in my life when everything else felt uncertain. With them by my side, I found the courage to confront my demons, to rise above the pain and forge my own path forward. And though the scars of my past may never fully heal, I know that as long as I have my aunt and uncle by my side, I will never have to face the darkness alone. At the tender age of 14, I made the difficult decision to leave behind the toxic environment of my father's house and move in with my aunt. Despite the upheaval this decision caused, neither my father nor my stepmother seemed to care. Their indifference only served to reinforce the sense of abandonment that had been growing inside me for years. With a heavy heart and a suitcase filled with hope, I stepped across the threshold of my aunt's home, leaving behind the ghosts of my past and embracing the promise of a brighter future. My aunt and uncle welcomed me with open arms. Their love and acceptance acted as a balm to my wounded soul. In their home, I found the stability and security I had longed for, a safe haven where I could finally be myself without fear of judgment or rejection. My aunt became not only my guardian but also my mentor, guiding me through the trials and tribulations of adolescence with wisdom and grace. Though the road ahead was not easy, I knew that with my aunt by my side, I could weather any storm. And as I settled into my new life, surrounded by love and acceptance, I knew that I had finally found where I truly belonged. In my aunt's home, I found more than just a roof over my head. I found a family. From the moment I arrived, she welcomed me with open arms, treating me not as a guest, but as one of her own. She never hesitated to include me in family dinners, game nights, and holiday celebrations, making sure I felt like a cherished member of the household. Her 2 children, my cousins, embraced me as their sibling, their laughter and warmth filling the void left by years of neglect. My aunt's love knew no bounds, and my uncle's unwavering support was a constant source of strength and encouragement. Whether it was helping me with my homework, attending parent-teacher conferences, or simply lending a listening ear when I needed to talk, they were always there, a guiding light in the darkness. Through their actions, they showed me what it truly means to be a parent, to love unconditionally, to support wholeheartedly, and to believe in the inherent worth of every child, regardless of blood relation. And in their embrace, I found the family I had always longed for, a family built not on shared genetics, but on shared love and compassion. With the love and support of my aunt, I found the strength to turn my life around. Armed with determination and a newfound sense of purpose, I threw myself into my studies with renewed vigor. Every assignment, every exam became an opportunity to prove to myself that I was capable of achieving greatness. As the years passed, my hard work began to pay off. I excelled in my studies, earning top grades and accolades that once seemed out of reach. But more than just academic success, I found a sense of fulfillment and pride in knowing that I was capable of overcoming the obstacles that had once held me back. Now, at 25, I can proudly say that I am successful. I have carved out a path for myself, one filled with opportunity and possibility. And though the scars of my past may still linger, they serve as a reminder of the strength and resilience that lies within me. I am not defined by the neglect and indifference of my past, but by the love and support that helped me rise above it. And as I look towards the future, I am filled with hope and excitement for the journey that lies ahead. But the unexpected call from my father after 11 long years left me reeling, a whirlwind of emotions swirling inside me. Part of me felt a flicker of hope, a small glimmer of reconciliation after years of estrangement. But beneath the surface, there was a storm of questions and doubts, the wounds of the past still raw and tender. As he spoke, the truth of his shattered marriage unfolded before me like a tragedy in slow motion. His words painted a picture of betrayal and deceit, revealing the extent of my stepmother's duplicity. It was a bitter pill to swallow, knowing that the woman who had caused me so much pain had been harboring secrets of her own. The revelation of my stepmother's infidelity added another layer of complexity to our fractured relationship, casting doubt on the memories I had once held dear. Had her indifference towards me been fueled by her own guilt and resentment? Or was it simply a reflection of her true character, hidden beneath a facade of false kindness? As I grappled with these questions, I couldn't help but feel a sense of sadness for my father, who had been blind to the truth for so long. The realization that he had been deceived by the woman he loved more than her own daughter cut deeper than any betrayal, leaving him broken and alone. But amidst the pain and uncertainty, there was a glimmer of hope, a chance for reconciliation and healing. As I listened to my father's voice on the other end of the line, I knew that forgiveness was possible, that the wounds of the past could be healed with time and understanding. And so, with a heavy heart and a cautious optimism, I began to rebuild the bridges that had long been burned, knowing that no matter what the future held, I was stronger for having faced the demons of my past head-on. My father's plea to meet in person weighed heavily on my heart, stirring a tumult of conflicting emotions within me. Despite the years of hurt and abandonment, a part of me couldn't help but feel a pang of sympathy for the man who had once been my hero, now left alone in the aftermath of his shattered marriage. As I stood at the crossroads of forgiveness and resentment, I knew that this meeting would be more than just a chance to mend broken ties. It would be an opportunity to confront the ghosts of our past and lay them to rest once and for all. With a tentative resolve, I agreed to meet him, knowing that the road ahead would be fraught with uncertainty and pain. But as I walked through the door of his humble abode, the sight that greeted me shattered the last vestiges of my anger and resentment. There, sitting alone in the dimly lit room, was a broken man, his eyes red-rimmed with tears of regret and sorrow. Gone was the facade of strength and stoicism, replaced by the raw vulnerability of someone who had lost everything. As he reached out to me, his hand trembling with emotion, I felt a surge of compassion wash over me, a reminder that beneath the scars of our past lay the fragile bonds of family. In that moment, I knew that forgiveness was not just a gift I could give to him, but a gift I could give to myself. And as we sat together, sharing stories and memories long buried beneath the weight of our pain, I realized that despite the years of distance and neglect, we were bound together by something far stronger than blood love. But as I listened to my father's words, a sense of disillusionment washed over me like a cold wave crashing against the shore. The realization dawned upon me that his sudden desire to reconcile was not born out of genuine remorse or a longing for familial connection, but rather out of self-interest and desperation. It became clear that he saw me not as a daughter in need of reconciliation, but as a means to an end, a lifeline to cling to in his time of need. The thought of taking him in, of welcoming him back into my life with open arms, filled me with a sense of unease and apprehension. Instinctively, I knew that consulting my aunt was the right decision. Her wisdom and guidance had always steered me in the right direction, and this time was no different. With her support, I found the strength to stand firm in my convictions, to resist the temptation to give in to his manipulative pleas. And as time passed, my suspicions were confirmed as my father's true colors began to emerge. The facade of contrition he had carefully constructed began to crumble, revealing the selfishness and deceit that lay beneath the surface. In the end, I realized that true reconciliation cannot be forced or fabricated. It must come from a place of genuine remorse and a willingness to change. And while I may never fully understand the complexities of my father's motives, I am grateful for the clarity and insight that allowed me to see through the facade and protect myself from further harm. With my aunts and uncles' unwavering support, I made the courageous decision to distance myself from my father and the painful memories of my past. Embracing the opportunity presented to me, I accepted the promising position offered to me in a place far from the shadows of my former life. As I embarked on this new chapter, I felt a sense of liberation wash over me, like a weight being lifted from my shoulders. With each step forward, I left behind the ghosts of my past, embracing the endless possibilities that lay ahead. My aunt and uncle, my guiding light and confidant, stood by my side every step of the way, offering encouragement and wisdom as I charted my own course in life. In them, I found not only a second mother and father, but a source of strength and inspiration that would guide me through even the darkest of times. And as I looked towards the horizon, filled with hope and optimism for the future, I knew that I had finally found my place in the world, a place where the wounds of the past could heal, and where the promise of tomorrow shone bright and untarnished by the shadows of yesterday. Update: I am getting married, so I met a man last year and we fell in love. He also met my aunt and uncle, and they both like him. So, as I stand here, looking into the eyes of the man I love, I feel a warmth spread through my heart, filling every corner with a sense of peace and contentment. It's been a whirlwind journey, 1 year filled with laughter, shared dreams, and unwavering support. And now, as we prepare to exchange vows and commit to a lifetime together, I couldn't be more certain that I found my happily ever after. My uncle, a pillar of strength and love in my life, stands beside me, his arm linked with mine as we will make our way down the aisle. His presence fills me with a sense of belonging, reminding me that family isn't just about blood, but about the bonds of love and support that we choose to embrace. As we reach the altar, I glance towards the empty seat where my father would have sat, a pang of sadness tugging at my heart. I had hoped that he would be here to witness this moment, to share in the joy of my newfound happiness. But as I look into the eyes of my soon-to-be husband, I know that his love is more than enough to fill the void left by my father's absence. I may not have invited my father to the wedding, but I couldn't bear the thought of him being unaware of this significant milestone in my life. And so, with a mixture of apprehension and hope, I reached out to him, sharing the news of my impending marriage. His response was a mixture of surprise and resignation, a silent acknowledgement of the distance that had grown between us over the years. And while a part of me longed for his blessing, I knew that his absence on this day was a reflection of the choices he had made, not of my worth or value as a daughter. As I stand here, surrounded by the love and support of my chosen family, I feel a sense of peace settle over me, knowing that I am exactly where I'm meant to be. And as I take my partner's hand in mine, ready to embark on this new adventure together, I know that no matter what the future holds, I am loved, cherished, and deserving of every moment of happiness that comes my way. Thanks for all your support, Oswell guys. Comments. I am happy that the OP got the ending she deserves, and I wonder how her father is feeling for neglecting her all her life. Aunt and uncle are the real MVPs here. Well, I just want to say good luck with your life. Well guys, this is the end of the story. Share your thoughts and suggestion in the comments section below. And if you guys enjoyed the story, do like the video and subscribe to the channel. Goodbye.